Steve, are you there? Awesome. Thank you very much. So we're good to go ahead and conduct our business, correct? No, that's all right. I appreciate you working on it. I understand that everything is kind of hectic right now with everything going on in the city. All right. Thank you very much. So we'll start over. Cindy and I went through the RFP the process with a couple from city administration, and we had two proposals that were submitted back to us. One was CBiz and the other was Holmes and Murphy. We went through the process last week, sent our evaluations in, and have a recommendation from the subcommittee that was involved in that process. What we're asking for is we were bringing our recommendation back to the Staywell committee to possibly make a recommendation either way to the city manager, as this RFP will go in front of city council on Monday, December 21st. It's our understanding that the contract will be executed and take effect on January 1. So we're talking a little bit about differences in the RFPs between the two companies. Cindy, did we agree that we could talk about the companies?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the two companies that submitted proposals were CBiz and Holmes and Murphy. Both of them did an excellent job and met the requirements of the RFP very well. But we did notice some differences in the two, and that's why our group made the decision, or the recommendation, I should say, of choosing CBiz. Now, we'll bring this back to the committee and talk about it, answer any questions that you guys have, and then maybe move forward from there depending on what we decide as a committee. Holmes and Murphy did an excellent job presenting their information, but at the same time, when contacting references, they seem to be lacking in the area of wellness. That's something that we've all decided on that is important to us, and that for the health of our members, that wellness needs to be a big focus. The references that we talked to said that Holmes and Murphy they provided wellness options, but once they got to that point, they kind of left it up to the individual businesses or the companies that they were representing. And I feel like we're kind of at a standstill with that, because we have accepted and taken on the responsibility that wellness is going to be very important to us as a committee, but also as a membership as a whole. And we need some driving factors on how to get that wellness plan started. So that was one of the big issues for me that made me want to choose CBiz. CBiz did an excellent job too of not only talking about wellness, but providing the education not only to the committee members, but other individuals in the city, i.e. human resources and finance, that are all tied in with this committee as far as executing the benefits for our membership, as providing that training, providing those updates, and being creative in ways that we can administer this plan. So that was kind of that was kind of the big thing that weighed on me. The other thing was really the money. For everybody, we were paying locked in close to $120,000 a year for their services. CBiz came in at $120,000. Holmes and Murphy came in at $150,000 annually. So we kind of talked about it, and the money was kind of an issue for us, especially with the health of our plan right now, that it would be hard to justify spending that additional $30,000 and we felt like that CBiz made a better proposal in explaining the services that they were going to provide to us, and how and going into depth of how they were going to do that. I did mention in our subcommittee meeting to the finance director, Brian Kidney, and the human resources director, Jennifer Vargo, because CBiz did spell out that they would be providing some services to those departments as well. I did make mention, and it was discussed, that the Staywell Fund should not be responsible for that total amount of $120,000 if they're going to be providing services outside of healthcare or insurance benefits to these other departments. It was discussed, and it was come to an agreement that that's something that we'll have to continue to look at with finance and HR, but they were willing to pay some of that cost out of their own budgets for the services that were rendered to those departments outside of our Staywell plan. So that was something that was discussed a little bit outside of the proposal, but something that had a factor in the overall amount of money that we're going to be paying for this consultant. So I'll leave it at that. I'll let Cindy talk a little bit about it, because she may have a little bit different perspective on the whole thing, and let you guys hear some of her opinions. And please feel free, if you have any questions or anything, let me know, and we can answer them to whatever extent we need to.
I just want to say that, yeah, I've been involved in this process multiple times over the past few years, and this ran really smoothly. I was super comfortable with it. I was concerned when we didn't get the lock-in proposal, so I probably kind of rang the bell in that last week going, I was just surprised, because, you know, your incumbent almost always does a proposal, but we checked on it, you know, that goes through a private company, and I mean, Rich checked on it to the point of finding out if they'd had any computer glitches, anything that would have prevented that from happening, because we wanted to make sure it was a clean process before we just went ahead and, you know, considered that we only had 2 proposals, and everything was extremely clean on it. They didn't call to confirm that we had gotten it or anything. And so, along with Mike on the companies, I mean, we both were kind of on the same page with that. Reading through the proposals, they were both super straightforward. And in the end, it's just, Holmes & Murphy is a small privately owned company. And part of my concern with it too was that both of the people that we contacted as references, they did quarterly things, and I'm like, I just don't know if they're used to dealing with like a committee like us, where we require monthly things and monthly reports. So that kind of concerned me. Just because it seemed like these other companies utilized them, but, you know, we're a heavy utilizer of this consultant. So anyway, I knew that CBiz had, because they had previously done a lot of our stuff on the clinic. So I think that's all that went into kind of play with us making the decision.
And along those lines of what Cindy said is you know, that was a very big topic of discussion, especially from our standpoint, is and I don't mean this in a negative way at any light, but we are a very needy committee. This committee is very involved in the managing of our healthcare fund and our plan. I commend this committee for being that way and staying on top of this as much as we do. And that, I agree with Cindy, and this is something that we stated in those meetings, is that we just weren't sure that Holmes & Murphy was going to be able to provide that information to us as rapidly as we were going to need it. we're very used to when we ask for something from our consultants that we normally have a very quick turnaround. It's normally within 24 or 48 hours so that we can make a decision to manage this fund. And I think that that was something that we agreed upon that we weren't really willing to give up. So that was a big concern as well. And, you know, Cindy and I we've had dealings with CBIZ in the past as well. For the people that have been on this committee for a while, and for information for the individuals that are newer to this committee, CBIZ was the one that handled the RFP for our clinic. It was a very smooth process in working with them. We have built relationships with those people over the years, and so we do have some experience with them as well. And I think it would be a very smooth transition over the next few months, getting them in place and up and running to what we expect as a committee.
So Mike, where do you need to go from here? Do you need a motion from, and we do have a quorum of the committee, right, on here to vote?
Yes, we do have a quorum of the committee. After, you know, when we're finished discussing everything and everybody feels comfortable, if we want to make a recommendation to the city manager, that way he has that information and has the support of the Staywell committee to move forward when he goes to the city council on Monday, December 21st. I know I've been in contact with the city manager. He's asked me to be available to speak that night to the council if they have any questions regarding this. So it's going to be up to us of whether or not we want to make the recommendation to support what the subcommittee group did from there moving forward. So it was something that Cindy and I discussed. And like I said, as in tune as this committee is with everything going on, and as much as we do use our consultants, it's something that we wanted to bring back to everybody and keep everybody in the loop and have an understanding of what's going on. So that's why the reason we're having this special meeting today.
Mike, will he take it to council the 21st with a proposal without
Yes.
our recommendation? It's going to go.
I believe either way, it's going to go to council on the 21st.
When is the end of the contract now? We're under Lockton.
I asked about that. Lockton's contract is up in October of 2021, correct, Cindy?
Yeah.
And I did ask about if there was a termination fee attached with that, and I was informed that there is not a termination fee. As long as we give proper notice that we are terminating the contract, it is a clean split and a clean walk away.
What's our notice, like a month or something?
I'm not sure. That's something that in the fine details of the contract, and I know city administration has been working on that. So that's something that I would have to talk to either Brian Kidney about or Jennifer Vargo. If that's information that you guys want, I can send them an email and be more than happy to reply back to you.
And what is the proposed length of the contract with CBIZ?
It's 3 year.
Okay. And that's typically what we do with Lockton?
Yes.
We were in an extension with Lockton. We extended with them in October of last year due to the fact that their contract was coming up the same time as we were dealing with all the clinic RFPs. And so that's why Lockton brought us back a proposal and offered to extend the contract at the same rate for 2 years so that we weren't trying to deal with two different RFP proposals at the same time. And that's why we entered into that contract with them at that time.
Okay.
So are we paying Lockton? You said 120. Is that fully out of the fund, plus there's more being paid by the city for other activities?
Currently, right now, the $120,000 annually is coming from the Staywell Fund due to the other departments that are not using the locked-in fund.
So 120 to CBiz and other departments may be using it, could be less.
That's
Yes.
correct.
Yes.
And we were talking about doing some sort of percentage, and finance seemed to be on board with that, because they do intend to utilize some of their additional services.
And they use Lockton currently.
They were not using Lockton. According to Jennifer, they've never had them do anything other than the Staywell plan when Deborah was HR director, for a fact, because this came up and they were supposed to be paying a percentage of our last contract with Lockton. And Jennifer says that they've never used them for anything outside of Staywell since she's been there.
Are there other departments using Lockton?
No.
Oh, okay.
They have, it's our understanding with Mike and I that there's some other, and I didn't understand what Brian was talking about, that the city has some other contract with Lockton, but it has nothing to do with like this kind of stuff. So it may be over a power and light or something, Jamie, but they do have a
Totally
contract with Lockton that's outside of any of the HR services or whatever.
Sorry, guys. With the ransomware attacks and everything going on over the weekend, our dispatch system's down, so we're having to listen to everything. Should be about done talking here in a second.
And pretty much Mike and I wanted to bring it back. I think we've always done that in the past when we've been on as a subcommittee, bringing it back just so that the recommendation's clean, that, you know, we're a subcommittee of the Staywell committee. So that everybody's on board when it goes to council, because they like to ask, and they typically do. Has a Staywell committee, do they have any, you know, input on this or comments on this?
And I think that was one of the reasons when the city manager contacted me about the city council meeting. I think he anticipates some questions. I know Staywell has been a topic for several of the council members. I've fielded several questions from them in the last few months regarding Staywell. So I think we were just trying to get ahead of the game. That way everybody was informed, everybody was prepared, and that's why I'll make myself available on the 21st to be at the council meeting virtually, so that if any questions do come up, we can answer them in a timely manner.
Well, if nobody has anything else, I'll make a motion that we send the recommendation of the subcommittee to contract with CBiz, send that to city council for approval.
I'll second it.
And Mike, I might just say, I think probably just going down through who's here just to get on the record the vote, instead of everybody just saying aye, might be appropriate.
Yes, absolutely. Let me finish writing this recommendation out, and then I'll read it back to everybody. And I know Tammy and Stephanie don't have their cameras on, but if you could turn your cameras on for just a few minutes, if you have that capability, so that we could, we'll do a show of votes. Okay, so Jeff made the motion. It was seconded by Jamie to accept the subcommittee's recommendation of CBIZ as the new healthcare advisory consultant. So we'll just go around real quick. Jamie, I'll just have everybody
Aye.
say yes.
Yes.
Aye. Okay.
Yes.
Jamie, Jeff.
Yes.
Okay. Cindy,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Can you hear me?
yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Stephanie, and hang on just a second. Tammy has a microphone but no camera. Tammy, if you could respond in the chat, if you aye or nay, and we'll go from there. Tammy says yes. Okay. So the motion passes. I will send this to the city manager this afternoon. That way he has it to attach with his information to send to city council. Does anybody else have anything else that they'd like to discuss?
I was going to ask Mike, do you think we have enough do we have enough stuff to do a meeting this month, or do y'all want to just postpone and wait till January? Since we've had this little sub meeting, I mean, is there other things that everyone thinks they need to discuss, or do we just want to wait till we do the January meeting? Because I don't think we have anything, Mike, additional. Do we?
No,
that?
I don't have any old business or any new business that's going to be presented at this time. The only thing that I would be cautious of that I would like to see as a group is the finance report and the report from Lockton, just to kind of see that information and put that stuff on record, with it being the end of the year and with the way our plan is running right now, just to kind of have that information. I don't foresee it being a very long meeting.
Yeah,
but
be short.
It'd be short, but I'd really like to see that information.
Okay.
So, and again, our next meeting will be on Wednesday, December 23rd at 8:30 in the morning via Teams. I know because of the current restrictions going on that all in-person meetings have been canceled from the mayor. So, excuse me. So we'll have to do everything virtually again. I will get meeting minutes, agenda, and everything out to people sometime early next week, and we can go from there. So.
Hey, Mike, I just want to thank you and Cindy for, I know you guys have put in a lot of work into this RFPs and helping to get this decision made. I just want you to know that personally, I really appreciate everything you guys do for this committee.
Well, thank you, Jeff. And it's something that, everybody on this committee's put a lot of time into it. We've had to make some really tough decisions over the last couple of years. And I think everybody has the same mindset that it's not about individuals or small groups. It's about making sure that we're doing what's best for the Staywell Fund and the Staywell plan so that we can maintain what we have and continue to grow and move forward. So I appreciate everybody's work that they've done outside of here as well. I know Staywell sometimes can take up a lot of time for people, and especially this time of year with the holidays and everything, it makes it tough. But I appreciate everything you guys do as well. So on that note, if we don't have any more business to conduct, I will need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Jamie makes a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Jeff seconds the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion approved. Thank you, everybody, for your time. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Enjoy your weekend and be safe. Happy holidays, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.